It's your friendly neighbourhood Arifire here. We're back with another episode of All Talk No Shock. So I want to start by doing a quick review of TFNation 2020, or rather the big broadcast of 2020, where TFNation put on a virtual convention of their actual convention, with the normal convention not being able to go ahead, and they just crammed in a whole weekend's worth of amazing stuff into 1 and a bit days. There's just so much stuff to go through. They did a wonderful, wonderful job. I mean, I felt absolutely exhausted by the end of it, and I was just watching in front of a television. So just remember some of the great things we had in it. There was so much, I'll just try and remember them. We had Jeremy Levy, Buzz Dixon, May Catt, Stan Bush. Stan Bush did 2 acoustic numbers of Dare and The Touch, which I wasn't expecting. Part of me was expecting it, but still, when they appeared, it was great to see. There was just so much. We had Anna Malkova and Brian Ruckley as well, from the upcoming IDW releases, the ongoing Rise of the Decepticons story arc in that. There was just so much. What else did we have? We had a bit of pink hair dye towards the end. I won't spoil that for anyone who has to know. We had quizzes as well. The quizzes. They're just... they're notoriously hard, but wow, that was unreasonably hard. I started off in the first round. There were 4 rounds. Started off with the first round and I was 26th out of 300. I thought, that's okay, and it just went downhill from there. It was where do you go on from there? Peter Spellos obviously did sort of a Skype or Zoom chat. Great to see him. Greg Berger, who was at last year's TFNation, who I got to meet. Probably one of the most charming men you could ever meet. There was a virtual toy auction, or not an auction, but there was a toy sale going on with Toy Fu, who, make money by getting in old Transformers toys, and they restore them if they can, and then they sell them on, and any profits they make goes to a charity called Mary's Meals. Do check them out. They do stuff at conventions throughout the country. They're so good. I myself got a Masterpiece Blue Streak, which with any luck should be coming soon. Hats off to them. Hats off to TFNation in general. They did a wonderful show. It was a whole day of stuff, and it just made me miss it so much, and I want to go to 2021 so badly. Of course, there was one other thing of Chris McFeely doing a sort of a real looking back at the very, very beginning of Transformers, and it was showing some of the car toys being made in something like 1983, I think. It was really, or even older, it was really early stuff, and there's a video up on his channel. Do check it out. Really interesting. And Thew, of course, Toy Grind, did a one-off special review for Sentinel Prime. Very good stuff. Really funny. And we saw a rewind to last TFNation, and there's a lovely moment there in a cosplay contest involving Thunderclash and Black Arachnia. I do recommend you check that out if you can. I was there at the time. It was a touching moment. But the best news of all is that we're hopefully going to go ahead with TFNation 2021, which will coincidentally be, if I'm right, 35 years of Transformers. Do you feel old yet? Yes, you do.
It's an All Talk No Shock.
Okay, now that slice of awesomeness is out of the way. We're back to the mediocre stuff. My channel. Now, what I want to talk about on this episode of All Talk No Shock is actually something I want to talk about for a little while, and it's to do with toys. But whilst I'm not going to be reviewing them, I want to talk about kind of the price of modern day collecting. This could be a bit tedious for some, but I think it is an interesting conversation. I think it's one that all toy collectors need to have in the Transformers franchise. So let's just sort of look at what the current market has to offer and how much they're asking for it. Now, I am going to be comparing official and third-party ones, but it is all Transformers, and it is more to do with budget and price, and they are all going to be different shapes and sizes, but it's all factors to the big picture here. Now, for example, we'll start off with a third-party one. You've seen this in my collection before, because I have a few third-parties. This is Geiger Power, Geiger Saw, Grimlock, or Superator is his name for them. It's their take on Grimlock, and he's just incredible. He's so heavy and so big. I mean, he's the size of my head. It's just amazing. Now, I'm not ashamed to tell you, this probably cost me something like about £120, or maybe 130 I think. Now that's fine on original release and purchase price. However, if you miss the boat and time goes on and he's become harder and harder to find and you have to go through pre-owned and other lenders, you're looking at about £170 to £200 for this. But that all being said, I think that's okay. The reason why I think this is okay to spend about £200 on a figure of this is, one, the sheer size of it. It's ginormous. It's bigger than most individual bots in my collection. Even a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus barely scales up to this. And also it just looks brilliant. It's mostly die cast or mostly metal rather than plastic. It's, painted. Well, I believe it's painted. It's certainly decored out to wonderful, wonderful, detailing. And I love this. Listen to this. The ratchet sounds on that. I mean, it's just not going to fail on you. I honestly don't think my car is built that well. I had to put him down because he's a bit too heavy to handle and talk at the same time. But what I'm saying is, that is a lot of money. I'm not going to deny. But what you get in your figure at the end of it, I think is brilliant. I think you get an incredibly designed figure, for an effective price. You're getting what you pay for, in that sense. Right, next one, and keeping in the realms of third party, but on a much smaller scale, I want to talk to you about this. This is TFNation's version of Dead End. And I love this. It's a modern take on the older Porsche vehicle, and I just think it's wonderful. I think it really does look great. The whole set looks fantastic. The thing is, when you buy combiner limbs on a third party scale, you're easily paying somewhere between £80 and £100, or maybe just over £100. The Vans Toys ones can easily cost over £100 a limb. Now you're getting into that because it's a combiner. The trouble is, once you're in, you're probably in for the whole set of 5 or 6 in case of Devastator. So, as much as I love this, and I do love it, and I think it's great in vehicle mode, and it's good in robot mode, won't be able to transform it for you quick enough. It's £80, and then the whole set, will call it £100. It's probably going to be about a £500 set. If you're looking at a Devastator with 6 components, you're looking at a £600 set, and you're thinking, that's a lot of money. And then you think, is that worth £100? Now I love it. I love the decor. The tyres are rubber, which is a rarity. But when you put it all together and then split them all up, is it all worth £500? Honestly, probably not. But believe it or not, I do have a point to this, because now we're getting back into the realms of official. And here we have Takara's masterpiece, Beast Wars Megatron. And I just adore this figure. I had to get it. It's got so much character. I really don't think it's going to pick it up on camera for you. But when you look at the dyno head alone, that's got so much personality going on. It really is great. It's probably not going to get into focus. Now, obviously, the tale of this is, when it was released, it cost an obscene amount of money. How little we knew Masterpiece Optimus Prime, but this is still cost an obscene amount of money, and people were like, what, I don't want this. But then a lot of people bought it because it is brilliant, and it really is. But this is Takara, this is Hasbro, this is official product, charging easily the rate of a third-party figure. Is it worth it? It's certainly not worth it. Does that help you? No? Okay. It's brilliant. It is one of my favourite in my collection. Is it worth the price, which I'm now trying to remember off the top of my head? I saw it in dollars, which was something like $329. I'll check that. That it's an obscene price. At the time, it was like leagues ahead of what we saw. Or you could get this, which is not official. This is a fourth party. This is a knockoff. A knockoff of an official. Fourth party, typically cheaper made, cheaper materials. This didn't cost me £100. This may have been 80 something, maybe 90 something. And it's not perfect, but for what I've paid, I'm incredibly happy with it. And that's the thing, you've got to look at it. You've got to look at these things subjectively. Do I want to spend $320 or whatever it is? Or do I want to spend £80 and get something that, okay, may not be as pristine, as perfect. We know the official had problems. I mean, we were hearing things about plastic stretching and straining, crutch breaking. And when you're dropping $300 to see your toys and figures breaking, that makes you wonder, do you really want to spend that money at all? Now, I do want to finish off on a happy note. And what I have here is this wonderful thing. This is Earthrise Skylinks of the War for Cybertron trilogy, and it's just amazing. Now, a lot of people have done their reviews for it by now, so you've probably seen it. It's just a brilliant figure. It's huge as well. It's really big. And this is the thing. This is a Commander class. This is a bit of a new one, similar to Jetfire, who's up there. And this scales really, really well with the majority of the collection. I'll get to scaling another day. But this isn't Masterpiece. This isn't the same as the Beast Wars Megatron that you just saw, which costs $300 for that scale, for that range. This isn't Masterpiece, and this costs £79. That's a lot of robot, which divides into two robots, for £79. Now this is kind of where I want to finish off with this. Let's go back to this. That probably costs more than this. Is there a comparison? Can you make a fair comparison? No, I don't think you can. One's official, one's third party. The third party don't get the amount of trade as the official line does. I understand that, so they're making up their costs by putting up a higher unit price. I understand that. It might make good business sense, but as a consumer, that, for less than a car, turns into a space shuttle, a base, and two separate robots. It's no contest. I think this is a bit of a new chapter here with Takara. They're making very high quality products now, and you don't have to pay the world for it. Whilst we get into the realms of scale and aesthetics and what you're getting, whether it's die-cast, whether it's purely plastic, whether, there's lots of factors that people will have their own mental checklist. My big thing that I have with all of this toy collecting is it going to break? Now, we've all had, those of you who are collectors, from when you're a kid to now, we've all had the toys break. Does it break after fair wear and tear, after you play with it and fiddle with it for the 900th time, or does it break on the second time of using it? That's what I think is unforgivable. If you're going to drop £200 on a figure and it breaks, you shipped it from China and it's taken 3 months to get to you, second time you transformed it and it comes away in your hand. Now the thing is, it's your collection. Now I have to leave it up to you as to whether you think something is worth it or not. I mean, look at the first one you saw there, the Grimlock, Geiger Power. That's more money than most individual bots in my collection, and I think it's brilliant. I think all of the Geiger Power set are worth their money because I think they're exceptional. I think other people would disagree with me on that. Some people would avoid Masterpiece altogether because of how much it costs. Some people only go with the Takara stuff because, hey, if it's not a great figure, you've only spent, what, £25? There's an argument to be had. It is very much down to individual basis. But that is one of the stigmas of any collecting. You pay the price for your fandom, for your hobby. There are very few hobbies that are cheap. And unfortunately, if you want the good quality stuff, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, I do realise I'm saying this all subjectively. This is very much down to personal preference because some people have huge wall-to-wall collections and they'll buy everything, and some people will just have very small collections of things and figures that they just particularly want. It's very much down to you and how much you feel comfortable with spending and whether the figures on the market warrant your price, warrant your money. Because at the end of the day, they've got to convince you to part with your money. But I'm not unhappy with my collection. If I was unhappy, I certainly wouldn't have it. Well, I hope that put any kind of perspective towards you and your collecting whatsoever. I mean, it could have just been me ranting about first world problems, and it could have been. But I found that quite an interesting topic. It's certainly a factor you need to take into account when you're collecting anything, not just Transformers. I'm tailoring it to my collection. But anyway, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.